Hey guys, just want to start off by saying the time I'm filming this, I actually already built both computers. This is because when I went back in post-editing, the audio that I had recorded, I actually had the wind filter enabled on Canon's sound recording settings, which created a massive obnoxious hiss in the audio, which pretty much made it unusable, so I had to go back and I'm re-recording this now. Anyways, we got two builds going on here today. This is my personal editing computer. We'll go through some of the parts later, as well as my stepdad's computer, which is just going to be an upgrade from his little desktop computer. He has it over his business. Now, if you're expecting this to be a how-to build that's going to explain to you every step there is to build a computer, might as well turn this off now and maybe head over to like Newegg or someplace like that. Paul over at Newegg has some great how-tos on how to build your first custom computer. Maybe I'll put some annotations around in here somewhere. But really, this is just going to be showing my experiences, what I thought, how I did with my first build. All I can say is I had a really good time, and I hope you guys are excited to check out the video. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's clear out some of these boxes, maybe go over some of the parts we picked up. Whew, that feels a lot better. All right, let's go ahead and start out with a few of the items that I picked up for this build. So the processor I chose was the Intel Core i7-3770K. This is Intel's quad-core i7 top-of-the-line processor in the quad-core series. This is the unlocked edition, so I will be able to overclock. This has 4 cores in it, but with hyper-threading technology, this will actually be recognized as an 8-core CPU. Definitely, I thought was going to be a great choice for video editing. Super excited to go ahead and use this. It's going to be my first quad-core CPU and a computer that I'm actually going to be working on. Now, when it came to the motherboard, I was a little bit confused on how to pick out one. I went ahead and picked out the MSI Z77A-G43. This is a mid to low-end Z77 Intel chipset motherboard. Definitely not a bad one though. It's got the MSI's ClickBIOS 2, the OC'd 2 1-second overclocking. If any of you guys have been checking out Linus Tech Tips or NCIX Tech Tips, you can see that he actually does a review on the OC'd 2 overclocking. If I do overclock, I'm just going to be doing it manually though. So, you know, this motherboard came in at right around $100. Kind of depends on where you buy from. Newegg and Amazon both have it for, I think, $98 right now. And both of them I'm pretty sure are free shipping. So now the RAM was pretty much a clear choice. Almost everybody says to go with Corsair Veagence. Their 1600 DDR3 memory. Pretty much your best value for the money. Kingston HyperX or G-Skill, equal performance, but Corsair is definitely one of the more known. Corsair Veagence is definitely one of the more known to go with, and 8 gigs was just going to do me fine. Possibly looking to go up to 16 later. I kind of screwed myself over if I want to do 32, because to do 32 you have to fill up all 4 DIMMs with 8 gig sticks. Obviously now right now I have 2 4 gig sticks, so I could either go to 16 or buy 2 more 8 gig sticks and go to 24, which would be an odd amount of RAM, but it would still work. But this is just the black anodized heat sinks. Alright, now the power supply I went with, I was on a bit of a tight budget. This is Rosewill's Green Series 630 watt 80 plus certified power supply unit. This is just a basic 80 plus, not even bronze or anything. I was on a tight budget. This power supply came in around $59 for me off Amazon, which it regularly is, I think, 76, 70. So it was on sale for a little bit. Great PSU. There's not a whole lot I can say about it, because honestly, what's too special about PSUs unless there's some new technology and how modular they are or something like that. Now for the hard drive, I wish there was something a little more I could show you, but most hard drives nowadays are shipping in plain shipping boxes with 2 little brackets that hold the hard drive in free air inside this box and keep it from getting any direct impact if this box were to fall, although I don't know how much it would really protect it. I'm sure it would still mess up some of the platters on the inside. But the drive I picked up is the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1 terabyte 64 megabyte cache. Good hard drive. Picked it up for 70 bucks. It was on sale. Definitely going to be doing a couple more hard drives down the road, probably another 500 gig or maybe another single terabyte for more media, and then an SSD for my boot drive, either 120 or 128 gig depending on what I go with. Alright, now the case I picked out was the NZXT Source 210 Elite. This was definitely a well-recommended case. Pretty much solid steel construction, and for 40 bucks you really can't go wrong. I picked out the all-white version, which you can see it right in the background here. Not exactly the most quiet case because it's definitely an odd type of steel. The sound kind of reverberates through it, but definitely has some really awesome cable management, some good hard drive bays, and it's really easy to get stuff installed into and work with. Alright, and some of the fans I picked out, these are the NZXT White Performance 120mm fans. These are some cheap fans, but they're definitely some good performing fans. Heard a lot of great reviews on these, and I definitely like them so far. They're definitely the quietest fan that I have in my case right now. And for some cool aesthetic looks, I picked up some Rosewill white LED 120mm fans. These are also really inexpensive. They're showing right here at the front of my case. I have two mounted up here for the intakes, and the white LED kind of glows out the edges here. I find it really cool, and I'm trying to go with an all white and black theme. You'll get a look inside the case later. Alright, and to run over some of the parts for my stepdad's build, here we have the Intel Core i3 3225. This is Intel's top-of-the-line Core i3 processor that's out right now. This is Ivy Bridge as well. As far as I can tell right now, it's performing really well. Motherboard we picked out was it's like the exact same one except different chipset. It's the MSI Z77A-G43. Also a really great motherboard, a little bit different, a little bit older chipset from Intel, but it's still definitely a great motherboard. Now, in the name of making this a budget build for him, this is about as budgeted as we got throughout all the parts on this build. This is the Logicus 480 watt stock like OEM power supply. Had some really good reviews on it, and for 20 bucks, I don't think there's any cheaper I could have got on the PSU. We don't have any parts that are going to be any power hogs. I think the thing that's going to be drawing the most power is probably going to be the i3, but that's not going to be much. Probably less than 70 watts at max. Again, no fancy packaging here. This is the Western Digital 500 gigabyte Caviar Blue, same version of mine, just the 500 gigabyte version. Although this is a 16 megabyte cache, there's a huge difference there, but again, no fancy packaging there. And the case I went with was the Thermaltake V3 Gaming Edition case. This was a basic case, also had some really awesome reviews on it. This I picked up for, I believe, $39 off Amazon, and simple case, poor cable management though, as I noticed, and includes one 120mm blue LED fan. Might want to install another intake fan though, but good case for the money. Alright, now that we told you guys all about the parts, let's go ahead and jump into the build. Like I said, already got it all built here. You guys excited for the build? I am. Let's jump right into it. My first impression of the NZXT case was great. It was really well built and pretty attractive looking. However, the side panel screws were pretty much impossible to get off for the first time. I'd use a power screwdriver just to get them off. The side panels were extremely well built and really sturdy. I was happy to find that the case came with all the right hardware as well as a pretty detailed manual. It was a nice touch that all the front panel wires had black insulation. The case came with a 120mm rear exhaust as well as a 140mm top exhaust. I started on installing the standoffs for the motherboard. I searched through the case packaging and found that there was a standoff tool. This allows you to use a Phillips head screwdriver to tighten down your standoffs instead of killing your fingers. Using this little tool made things move so much smoother. It was time to start working on the motherboard. I started out with the RAM. Installing these sticks wasn't all that hard because I'd already done it before. You simply slide them into the DIN with the key in the right direction and give it a bit of force. Next it was time to start working on the CPU. I removed the CPU cover, as well as took out the CPU fan and the CPU. Alright, so now you're not supposed to touch the top at all, because that can get some oils on your skin.
and possibly compromise the thermal paste that comes stock on the CPU fan. So you may not be able to see this, but I'm just gonna get real nice and close here. Did this once before. It is quite nerve-wracking setting in a CPU for the first time. Second time around, it shouldn't be too hard. I didn't touch it. I had the instinct to. It looks all set down in, so I'm going to go ahead and, oops, that was a little rough. Set down the bracket. I think we're good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pop on the CPU fan.
On the bottom of the CPU fan, you can see the copper contact that hits the processor as well as the thermal paste. On a side note, for those who are going to be using the stock CPU, be sure to unwind the fan header cable before you install it. It just makes things a lot easier. Intel made installing these CPU fans extremely easy. All you do is line it up and push down the pins into place and then twist them shut. Plug in the fan header cable and you're all good to go. I went to set the motherboard into the case and almost forgot the I/O shield. After struggling with that for about 5 minutes, it was in and ready to go. Setting the motherboard in and screwing it down was pretty much a breeze, no problems there. I figured it'd be a good idea to knock some of the case fans out of the way, so I took off the front panel and went ahead with my two 120mm intake fans, as well as my top fan. Up next was the hard drive. The toolless design of the hard drive bays made it super simple to put these in. Next it was the PSU. You can obviously tell that my PSU is completely non-modular. It was time to unpack that fat hunk of cables and start working with them. I got most of the wiring done. Looked pretty nice on the front. I couldn't get that stupid motherboard 8-pin power cable to get behind the motherboard. It just wasn't long enough. Maybe sometime soon I'll pick up a 8-pin PCIe extender that's white to make it look all pretty. Next it was time to hook up the front panel connections. I heard from a lot of people that this is a bitch. Well, it is. After about 5 minutes of looking in the manual of what connections what, I finally got it all hooked up. A quick tip to note is that the twist ties that come in most of your packaging, those make great for cable management. They can pretty much hold stuff just as well as a zip tie. I worked my hardest to make the messy side look pretty, but you know, I pretty much couldn't, so I just decided to throw the side panel on and squish it all in there. Finally spun her around. It looks alright, could have done a little better though. Finally, it's time to test to see if she's gonna post.
Alright guys, the time has come. Hold up, there we go. The time has come. Will we post or not? Following Paul over at Newegg's PC Superstition, if you put the side panel on, you're done. You're done for. You're not gonna ever post. You're screwed. I'm not sure if I'm in focus or not. If I'm not, that sucks. We're gonna flip on the power supply. Nothing should happen. That's pretty apparent to us. Turn on the TV. Samsung monitor, 27-inch LED, HDMI, okay, auto, I don't know how to work this thing. Analog, okay, here we go. A lot of fans are spinning. This is pretty good. LEDs light up. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Press F1 to run setup. Oh! We did it! We posted our computer. Sorry if I'm like awkwardly moving. Like, you can see my. Yes! Sorry. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was an awkwardly long moment there when it didn't turn on, and that was such a heart sinker. That cut me. I think we're in focus. Alright. Well, really happy, really excited. I wanted to try and move that, but we have so many open spinning fans right now.
Oh my gosh!
The cat has taken my side panel.
Hey there guys, today is day 2 of the fresh computer build. Took it apart, did a little bit better cable management, installed a second hard drive which was actually from my stepdad's build. He ended up not needing that 500 gig hard drive because his actually has a WD Scorpio Blue 320 gig hard drive that came out of his old computer, which was gonna work just fine. He only had about 100 gigs filled on it, so plenty of space, and he hardly does anything on it other than QuickBooks and stuff like that. If you can't tell already, my cat has pretty much claimed the side panel for his own, and yeah, well, he's just enjoying that little spot there. So we'll go ahead and bring the camera in here, give you some close-up shots of some of the internals of the computer. Nothing too special about it. Here is the computer in basically its final version. Actually, I take that back because here pretty soon down the road going to be adding in an SSD as well as a new CPU cooler, and then GPU eventually, which I'm going to save up a little more money to invest into a little bit higher end one. We're overclocking to 3.7 gigahertz. I'm right around 60 degrees Celsius at 100% load with Prime 95 testing, and about 29 degrees throughout all 4 cores around idle. That's pretty much it for this build. I think it looks really awesome, and I'm pretty proud of it. Good performance. Maybe get a benchmark video out here pretty soon. Anyway, thanks guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.